Star Trek, Star Wars, sometimes declared dead, yet instead, their studios continue to give us stuff even if people refuse to go see it. But what if I told you there's one franchise that finally may be going on ice? It's Doctor Who. And today we'll tell you why the fewer and fewer who tune in to these major franchises mean Doctor Who just might be only the first to go in the hearse of entertainment. What a day, what a great day, folks. Thank you for coming our way. An attitude of gratitude every time you decide to click that video we put out there. Welcome one and all, where we heed the call for explaining what's going on in entertainment. As we dive in, click that like button. Let's talk about Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, and why they're all falling catastrophically and maybe to their very bitter ends. Stick a fork in it. It's done. Doctor Who is finally dead. And it could mean we know where Star Wars and Star Trek have been led as well. That Park Place, writing this, Marvin Montanaro, the author. Doctor Who could be off the air until 2031, as producers reportedly have little interest in taking over the series. Now, for those of you keeping count, that would mean 5 years of no more Who. Sorry to those who live in Whoville. The future of Doctor Who appears more uncertain than ever, as a new report from Deadline suggests the long-running BBC sci-fi series could remain off television for years while the broadcaster searches for a new creative direction. The report comes just one day after news broke that the BBC had canceled this year's planned Christmas special and confirmed the departures of showrunner Russell T Davies and production company Bad Wolf. While many fans initially reviewed the announcement as a routine behind-the-scenes shakeup, Deadline's latest reporting paints a far more troubling picture. According to the outlet, industry insiders believe Doctor Who may not return until 2028 at the earliest. And some producers are now suggesting the series could be rested for as long as 5 years. If that timeline proves accurate, one of television's most iconic franchises could remain off air all the way until 2031. Now, I know we've got a lot of folks who are interested in Doctor Who, or at least once upon a time were interested in Doctor Who, and I don't think we've ever covered Doctor Who here on the channel before. I'm not a fan of it, and I don't like to cover things that I'm not well aware of. But what I am interested about in this report is that it may be the first major franchise, and one of the biggest held by its parent company, to go dormant, they say, we can't fix this, put it to bed. And we've been watching this, Christian, now for years, questioning, like, what's the strategy they'll go with Star Trek? They've killed it. What do we do now? Same thing with Star Wars. And there are a bunch of other franchises, too, that fall into this, right? But Doctor Who may actually spend some time off air. Now, I don't know if you agree with that or if you think they'll bring it back in 28, 29, whatever. But I think now we've reached the precipice where these franchises, people are legitimately asking, are they going to go into hibernation while we try to figure out how to fix it? What do you think, Christian, in terms of these huge, massive franchises going dormant now, possibly?
Well, I mean, I think on paper, it's actually a good idea. I mean, if they are struggling, if the fan base is not excited by the new content, for all those reasons, I think taking a knee is not the worst possible outcome. I just think that I just want them to learn why they're taking a knee, why fans are not interested, what went wrong with these different projects. And that's the bigger issue. Will they learn the lessons they need to learn? I don't know if they will. But the bottom line is that the ratings have been going down with Doctor Who. Obviously, what we're seeing with Star Wars, with Star Trek, ratings are down, box office is down. It's the public telling them, we're not interested in what you're doing to these franchises at the moment. I still think there's a love there. I think that there's a connection there. I think there's hope for the or better tomorrow. But if you keep putting out dreck, you're just going to chase people away. So taking a knee, not so terrible.
I can tell you just anecdotally, when I would drive around, I would see tons of cars that would have that bumper sticker, my other car is a TARDIS. And there's nothing anymore about Doctor Who. I see nothing in the mainstream. Like, all of that is gone. I know this was always sort of a more nerdy thing and definitely a British thing, but it's gone from public perception. And I think Star Wars and Star Trek are there. That's why The Mandalorian Grogu probably hits 330 million and wipes that out of the box office. I don't know, though, and I'm curious, Christian, what you think. I don't know that some of these franchises can go into hibernation because they're considered merchandise machines. But at the same time, if they don't fix them, then all the merch just goes to Ollie's and Five Below and the Dollar Trees and dollar stores. And that's not a great way for these franchises to continue on either. So I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know if that you can reconfigure these things in the speed they need to, because often the problem is not the franchise necessarily. The problem is the team that's behind the franchise, and that means you have a personnel issue that you have to change. You have to change the talent behind the scenes and their vision for what it is they want to do.
Well, I agree. I think the other problem, even though I'm in favor of them taking a pause, when you do that, you run the risk of losing your grip on the culture. You know, we haven't seen a new James Bond movie in several years.
Yep. That's a great point.
An actor to play James Bond, that means you have to find him, prep him, get the script ready, go before the cameras, do post-production, roll it out. We're still years away from another James Bond film, and the culture changes dramatically over time. It changes quickly. What we like today, what we worship today on small screens and large, it changes. So if you're Doctor Who or even Star Wars, if you go away for a little while with the best of intentions, when you come back, we could just collectively shrug. So there's that risk as well.
And what you're talking about is the generational loss, right? Where it is not passed on to the next generation, which is what some of these mega franchises require, is that the parent hands it off to the child or to the teenager, whatever, and it keeps going, it keeps cycling, and you refresh it, just like with James Bond and some of these franchises. You know, like James Bond, that's an interesting reference. And so I really appreciate that you brought it up, because James Bond is viewed as like intrinsically evil. Like they hate the character. They do. They go back and they watch Sean Connery and they watch Roger Moore and the depiction there, and they think that it is completely anti-woman. They think it is completely antiquated and awful and unacceptable, and it deserves a warning label. And so they don't want the franchise. I think if they do make another one, they'll have to change it, right? For modern audiences.
I have a little bit of faith in Amazon right now. They hold the keys to the Bond franchise. I think they understand how tricky, how slippery the ice is under their feet right now. And I think if they pull anything wokish or suspicious, I think that hardcore base is out. And then who do you have? I mean, you need that hardcore base with Bond at this point. Listen, they've been doing Bond stuff since the early 1960s. It's an incredibly durable brand. And I think it'd be hard to crush it, but certainly possible. You make another bad movie, you pick a poor Bond, you kind of make him woke or just kind of lose what matters about the franchise, and you're in trouble. And you're absolutely right. These new showrunners, these new screenwriters, they don't even have a love and affection for the source material. Listen, I don't want James Bond to be swatting the Bond girl on the butt in a very dismissive fashion. I think we've all moved on from that silliness. But it's okay for him to woo women. It's okay to be the object of affection for these different women. That's just fantasy and escapism. There's nothing wrong with that. And if there was a female action hero and she was flirting with a man, I wouldn't care at all. That's just Hollywood. That's just showbiz. That's just romance and glamour. We're getting upset about the silliest of things. I do think Disney's making a very wise move in re-releasing this original Star Wars film next year in theaters. That's going to be quite a pop culture earthquake, because we're going to remember just how good that movie is and why we cared about it in the first place. Probably should have done it sooner, but you keep putting out mediocre content. And that Mandalorian movie, I know we've talked about it before. What a disappointment! What an embarrassment! What a rush job! What an ill-thought adventure! I mean, I could go on for days about how that was just a complete waste. And that was their first movie in 6-7 years. So
right.
You can't.
People expected a tremendous steak, a wonderful masterpiece, and they were served vanilla paste.
I think it probably speaks to the ubiquity of Disney Plus that none of this stuff can be missed anymore. And I really think that's the problem with Star Trek and Doctor Who. All of this obscure stuff that you used to have to be a member of a fandom to really get into. The internet has eliminated the need to get deep into the lore, because AI will just tell you what the obscure things are. So it's taken some of the fun of being a nerd out of some of nerd culture, because now people get paid to be the deep nerds on all of this stuff. And you look at what's happened to the only remaining Star Wars channels now. They like whatever comes out, as opposed to what nerds used to be known for, is having an opinion, and not necessarily a positive opinion. They would say, oh, well, you did this, but I would have done it differently. because I actually know this series better than you. With Doctor Who, all of a sudden you get to this point where all of the people who have negative opinions about what happened are you're no fan of the series. You know, it's this problem where it's become too corporate, it's become too mainstream, and it should have been it's the clearest sign. We made jokes about it when Doctor Who arrived on Disney Plus, the place where franchises go to die. That was it. That was the death knell of this show. The only thing that seems to have survived Disney Plus and received any form of popularity is Bluey,
where they did not want to play all the episodes of Bluey because it's too darn traditional. And so,
can I ask a quick question? I think you're hinting on this. I want to make sure I have it right. Part of what you're saying is that the fact that everything is available to us 24/7, we don't get a chance to miss it. Is that
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the same thing if you meet a new girl and you want her to be interested in you, you have to leave a little something there. You know, you have to go away before you get irritating. That's the best strategy, guys, by the way, out there. If you want some dating advice, get to know the girl, but make sure that you're not available 24/7. Go find something else to do with your time.
Brian, or else you'll wonder if you have anything else to do with your time.
Exactly.
Dating tip segue. This is pretty good.
That's right.
Now, well, it's the same thing with the Disney Vault.
Yeah.
The Disney Vault was a genius strategy because you would go, oh, I have nostalgia for this thing. But now here we are. We're getting the live action remake of Moana, which is the #1 Disney movie on streaming right now. Yeah. So no one's missing Moana. This is going to sit next to Moana, and you're just going to say, okay, well, why would I watch the other one? Well, this is the one where it's the same people.
Well, what I wanted to ask you guys before we exit this topic is, what I'm waiting to see, I suppose, is that there are economies built around these franchises where it's not just the company that's making money off this. We laugh about the shills, but there are fan organizations and access organizations that they only exist because of these franchises. And so they go to conventions, they sell, third-party merchandise, they gather up groups to go and have fun and role play and all this kind of stuff. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the first thing we watch collapse. Like these people who, the 501st at Star Wars, like, can they maintain the number of fans that are necessary to do those kinds of things? And like Star Trek, all the people who will go to the cons and dress up and do that kind of stuff, like, do these start to collapse now that they have a decision? They can either hate on the modern stuff and lose access, or they can continue to shill, but then nobody wants to attend because everybody's angry about what the franchises are. And I think that's the next step we see.
It's like the canary in the coal mine, right?
Yeah, that's the first sign that it's over.
I think the worst thing that can happen to a franchise right now is for one of these mega corporations to become aware of it and try to boost it. Heaven help Warhammer if it becomes the most popular series on the planet.
Well said, Jonas. Well said. We've reached the end yet again. But ladies and gentlemen, we've had fun today, have we not? And until the next time we get to do so yet again, be a friend to the channel. Click that like button. Share your thoughts in the dialogue down below. And if you're not yet subscribed, well, we need you right here on Team Pro. Until we meet again, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.